All right, this is coming from an anonymous person who says, what are your thoughts about IVF? That's in vitro fertilization, right? I've been battling infertility for a few years, but I'm concerned about whether or not IVF is biblically acceptable, especially about discarding the extra embryos. Is it equal to abortion to discard the embryos, even if we can't guarantee they will grow if planted in the womb? Let me say this. I'm not qualified medically, and I don't need to be a doctor to do this. Let me just say I haven't done the research to understand IVF very well. I only know a little bit. The danger of that is answering a huge moral dilemma about abortion versus the desire to have kids, which seems like a pretty conflicted dilemma there that applies to an area of medicine that I don't understand very well, IVF. I've heard that you can request that they don't fertilize or don't create more embryos than you're going to use. I've heard that. I don't know. I've also heard someone else say that they requested that of a doctor and the doctor didn't do that. And they just did their own thing. Like it went to the lab and they just did, who cares what they say? We'll do what our routine is. So then I'm not so sure about that. But I will say this. Under the hypothesis, which could be wrong, there may be more about IVF, I don't know, that you're fertilizing multiple eggs to create, say, 10 embryos, and you're going to use 1 or 2. I think that seems morally wrong from the outset, if that's what you're doing, and that may not be what you're doing, but that seems morally wrong from the outset. Because what I've done is I've created a human life, because from the moment of conception, it's human, it's got its own DNA, right? It's alive by any scientific definition of life. We're looking at this is a living human being. And so to knowingly plan to create living human beings that will either be frozen or just discarded or then used for scientific purposes, research and stuff like that, seems immoral to me. Obviously immoral to me. I can't think of a good argument for the contrary. So that's the dilemma that I would have with IVF is there a way to not create embryos that are unnecessary? Now, the idea of doing in vitro fertilization, all the other factors about the process of how it's done, or having sort of an non-typical, right, unnatural kind of creation of humans, that's not a problem to me, okay? Because you're not actually, it's untypical, but it's not wrong in that sense. So yeah, that's my current position on it. You ask what I think, and this is basically based on the idea that humans are made in the image of God, the biblical principles here. Man is made in the image of God, and that it is not okay for us to just set aside at any stage of life a human being to be frozen forever or to be discarded. And that seems to me to be the only morally safe thing to say, because the contrary is to come up with excuses why at very young ages it's okay to just kill humans. I'll use that term to avoid debate here. That at very young ages it's okay to kill humans, because you're killing, that's this thing's alive. You're killing this human, this little boy or little girl. Like there's no realm where that is okay. It's just the moral insanity of our culture right now, the groupthink that says like it's okay for whatever reasons. And here we're prioritizing the desires of the mom and dad over their responsibilities to their children. Because yeah, I might be making a child that I'm using, but I'm also discarding children I'm not using, and that's not okay. So that to me becomes the big question with IVF. Is there a way to do this where I'm not creating human but there's a good chance that the procedure will fail. Then let it fail. Like you're not intentionally causing the death of offspring you create. Like that's, let it fail then. Like, oh, but our rates of success will go down. Like then let them go down. Like this seems to be the only moral solution to me.